This is the Backlog Exposed podcast, bringing you weekly discussions on gaming, as well as quick insights into sports, entertainment, and anything else that we can think of. To get in touch with us, be sure to check out our website, thebacklogexposed.com, where you can find all of our social media details like Twitter, Discord, YouTube, and Facebook. Now. Gear up and get ready, because this backlog is about to be exposed. Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 26 of the Backlog Exposed. I am your host Kevin, and it is November 18th. We're getting a couple days away from, vacation time and holiday time, and, we got Thanksgiving right around the corner, so I want to wish everybody a special Thanksgiving. Do want to point out real quick, we're going to have a guest host. Jason's going to be here on a midweek episode. We're going to try to get that episode done and recorded on Wednesday, just in time for your viewing and listening pleasure on Thursday. Remember, you could always jump on over to our YouTube. I don't know if you prefer, I don't know what your favorite platform is. We have a very mixed bag of platforms being used to listen to our podcast, which is pretty awesome. Kind of shows the spectrum of what people are listening to and stuff. But I'd say Google and Apple top the list, and you got some other cool ones in there. Pocket Cast and a few other things that I've never even heard of, but we also have a YouTube channel, so you can check it out, check our website out, and up top you'll have a link to the YouTube channel. Just go right to it, and you can subscribe to that. What I do is I render all these podcasts into a video form. It's really just, there's no true video other than a little waveform going up and down and stuff, so you can see that the video is playing and everything, but on that, it's just a digitized video of what we're doing here. So if you prefer that, feel free to subscribe. Eventually, I'll probably do some live streams and things like that from our YouTube channel. Maybe even start live streaming some of the backlog experiences that we're getting into. So check it out. I don't know if I'll be doing that on Twitch, but I'm definitely going to get into that as well. I have all the equipment set up, ready to go. I just want to. I'm waiting for my beard to grow out even further. We are 19 days. Into, I guess it's November 19th now already, but we're 19 days into November, and, the beard's looking good. I got I don't know, maybe about 2 inches, I'd say. Let's see. Testing it out. Yeah, maybe even 2.5, 3 inches of beard length now growing off the bottom of my chin, and I'm digging it. So I just gotta shape it so it doesn't look all crazy and chaotic. My wife the other day said, "You have bed beard instead of bedhead," and so I had to comb it, which is funny because once it gets a little long and shaggy, you got to maintain it, right? Otherwise, it looks nuts. And speaking of beards, my boy Hanson and his tag team partner Ro, better known to me as Todd. Todd, my old friend from back in the day, the one we talked about. He's in the WWE, right? So this weekend, WWE had its Survivor Series pay-per-view, but that was on Sunday. But on Saturday, NXT had their War Games pay-per-view, which was a pretty big, spectacular moment for NXT. They had a lot of stars, fighting there, and some up and comers, and I don't know. It's just a really solid roster that they've got right now, but. In the main event, you had 8-man, 4-on-4 tag team match. The War Games cell. So you have 2 rings put together. Now for everyone who's completely out of the loop, we're talking WWF, WWE style wrestling rings. Okay, this is pro wrestling. So you put 2 rings together and a cage that encompasses both of those rings all at once. It's like a Hell in the Cell, but with 2 cages. And a lot of rules and stuff. I won't get into all that. But long story short, you had the 4-on-4, and holy shit, this was just one of the most explosive and entertaining 8-man tag matches that I've ever seen. And I remember back in the day, you watched the Survivor Series, and you had the 4-on-4. And I don't know, I forget when WWE went away from that theme and that style for Survivor Series, but my brother and I mean, that was the Thanksgiving Eve tradition, right? every year we would watch Survivor Series, and the build up to Survivor Series with the storylines and the characters and the this versus that, and you're waiting to find out who's Demolition going to be tagging up with and who's Legion of Doom going to be with. Like, I can't wait. You can't wait to find out who's going to be wearing the face paint. And now you have the War Raiders, who are one of the most prominent tag teams already in NXT, and my buddy is one of them. So who's wearing the War Raider face paint? Who's tagging up with them, and it's just amazing to see. So they teamed up with Ricochet and Pete Dunne, the fan favorites, and man, they absolutely it was just one hell of a fight. The 4-on-4 action was through the roof. Todd had some of the most amazing moments, and absolutely one of, regardless of whether I know him or not, one of the coolest spots I've ever seen in a pay-per-view, where you had 4 guys trying to climb up and down the cage, trying to get out, and they're all like in a triangle type, just clawing at each other, and Todd's walking around, or Hansen's walking around, and a guy jumps on his back, and he's the biggest guy in the ring, so he's just wandering around the ring trying to swat at the guy, and he falls backwards into the 4 climbing up the cage, or 5, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyways, at the end of the day, there's 6 men on his shoulders, and he just power bombs all 6 men onto the ground in just a super explosive moment. He had some high flying spots. He even had a front handspring into the ropes, like Rey Mysterio, double back elbow into one of the tag teams. And it's just, seeing Todd and seeing this moment, knowing him personally, and knowing that he's probably one of the kindest guys you'll see out there. He's just put everybody over all his life. He's been doing this since I was in high school. And I know this is the world for him, and seeing it be, seeing somebody reach their dream is quite exciting. Todd and I were never close by any means, but I could say he's my friend. I mean, he's a good person. I've got to watch his career, and back when we were in high school, you'd say, oh, he's just doing professional. He's at Killer Kowalski's training camp. And then you find out a little while later, it's like, oh, he got the belt over there at this New England Federation. And then it's like, oh, wow, he joined this bigger federation. And oh, wow, he's in Ring of Honor and he's coming to my town. It's like, it's just one step away. And then all of a sudden now it's like he signed with NXT, and they have an iconic duo, his tag team, him and Rowe. They built a storyline when they were in Ring of Honor. They both were like new guys in Ring of Honor. And there was a tournament, like a singles tournament, where the winner, to be honest, I forget exactly what the specifics were, but it was a big deal, big tournament, and they came down to Hansen versus Rowe, and Hansen beat Rowe in a war, but at the end of it, he got up, shook his hand, and then the rest is history. They joined forces after that and formed that tag team, as opposed to Todd running a solo campaign. He just teamed up with them, and ever since then they've been a powerhouse. They were known as the War Machine in Ring of Honor, and then they came over to NXT, got renamed the War Raiders, and people were a little skeptical online, but to be honest, it's growing, it's fitting, and to read online all the positive reactions that this match had, not just with Todd, but Ricochet, and all the guys were just unbelievable. It was really, really well sold. And at the end of it, the quad team won with Hansen, Rowe, Pete Dunne, and Ricochet. And this guy Ricochet, man, he can fly. He's got some of the most amazing moves. So, if you haven't caught it, check it out. I think you can do a month free on WWE TV if you don't subscribe. But if you care at all, they do a promotion, or not a promotion, but if you pay for it, if you do the WWE TV, every pay-per-view is on there. So like if you're paying $45 or $60 for a pay-per-view once, well, you might as well just get this service because it's like $15 a month or $12 a month. I don't know the exact price, but yeah, it covers it all. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Anyways, I just want to bring that up and say my congrats to Todd and his team, and just for like an epic performance, and to be able to read online websites, Reddit, and all this stuff where people are grading and scoring and super critical. Usually, they're giving nothing but praise to Todd and his friends and his teammates. So good job, guys, and I look forward to more. Can't wait to see what you got. And I'm still calling it. I think Todd's coming out with his tag team partner at WrestleMania to cause some damage. I said it last year. I said Todd's going to be walking down that aisle next year. I'm still calling it. I mean, we're 4 months away from WrestleMania, but I think these guys are ready for the big time. They're obviously conditioned. They're obviously well groomed. They've been in the industry for quite some time. Both of those guys in real life seem to be really humble, really well respected in the locker room. They're not scumbags. They don't do drugs. They're I don't even know if they drink, but they're just heavy workers. And I think keeping them in NXT for a while isn't really necessary, because while NXT is a great growing brand of the sport, it's still, in a lot of people's minds, the B club as opposed to being on primetime. So I think they're ready for that primetime, and maybe they keep the belts on the current tag team champions or something, and let Todd and Rowe move up. I don't know. I have no idea. That's probably not how it's going to go, but that's just my suggestion. Little bias there, but I want to see a team like that in the main roster that can just demolish everybody. They try. They keep putting teams out there, and but this is a true tag team. They're not looking to be singles. They're a tag team. They love being a tag team. They're friends in real life. So move it forward. So now, real quick, another update. I know last week or the week prior, I let everyone know that I changed my gamer tag on PSN. I ended up getting a ton of invites and stuff, but no one really reached out to let me know why. They didn't say, hey, I heard you on the podcast. So I kind of cleaned house a little bit, cleaned up my roster on my friends list, and I changed my gamer tag again because the Backlog Exposed, or the Backlog Pod as a gamer tag, wasn't really working out. People had a really hard time saying it for some reason. I'd get into these random duos or random squads, and people were like, hey, Thub, the Black, they couldn't say it. The Backlog. And I don't know. It's easy to me, but anyways, I had to go with my roots. I had to make some people smile. I had to feel it. So I thought, what should my gamer tag be? Should I roll it back to Earl's Tees? No. Should I go with the old school denominator? No. Big Ron Stud? No. What was it gonna be? The Yeti? No. AC Slater? No. I'm just thinking of all my old names through the years. I had to upgrade. The upgrade is now complete. Kamikaze Earl. That's my gamer tag. It's gonna be that way for a while. It fits me. It's what I do. And, not every kamikaze is going to be successful. But if a kamikaze hits you, you're going to know about it. So Kamikaze Earl's coming your way. And you can find me on PlayStation Network. Feel free to add me. Again, just send me a message. Hey, heard you on the podcast. Because, I play a lot of randoms. So, that being said, Joe, are you there? No, Joe. Joe, have you bought a PlayStation VR yet? I don't think so. Joe, I'm going to keep asking that question until both those answers are yes. Again, Joe's still busy. Who knows? We'll see when he finally comes back. But until then, I'm going to be running solo or getting guest hosts and things like that. But for now, I'm your host, and I hope it's enough. Feel free to tweet at us, let us know, tell Joe to come on back. He will when he's ready, but I ain't gonna harp on it because at the end of the day, we do what we gotta do, and we're not getting paid to do this, so you obviously have to really focus on the important stuff: moving, unpacking, painting, blah 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 blah. We talk about it every week, but I just can't wait. I like having Joe here, but Jason's gonna be fun. Jason's a fun dude to talk to. So next episode, when you're listening, don't hesitate to tweet at us and let us know the topics you want to hear about. With that that pattern of VR. I just want to remind everybody, I talk a lot about VR. I love it. I really just love this technology. And so with that, I want to remind you, this is a great time to get in, right? They're at $100 off these bundles, and that's no sneeze there. This is a serious deal. You get for $200, you can get yourself right in. You can be playing Moss or Astrobot. $250, you could be playing Super Hot or Creed, the boxing game, and you also get the paddles. So you get everything you need to dive right in. So if you have a PS4, this is perfect time. I mean, seriously, my recommendation is you pick up Tetris Effect with either of those bundles, and you start really experiencing some of the true VR. I think of the games that are being introduced, then there's a ton of free content on the store that'll get you, plenty of playing hours. There's 2 demo discs, so if you're new to VR, a lot of experiences that you can jump right into, and plenty of content to replay. So some of those demos have already come out with full games. If you've been keeping up with some of the PlayStation, if you have PlayStation Plus and you've been getting the free games, you might have picked up a couple of VR games in the past. They might be in your library if you grabbed them, which would have been smart. But yeah, I mean, the price point is key. There's a bunch of sales going on right now for Black Friday. If you're a digital gamer or a disc gamer, you can find all this stuff super cheap this week. So perfect time to get in. All I can say is I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think, Joe talked a lot about feeling sick and having to take that headset off. He didn't. I mean, he's only ever played mine, right? And he never really played it for that long. You have to. Some people do get that motion sickness, but you have to just play through it if it's interesting. I mean, if you don't care, right? If it's not like something you really want to do, don't. I'm not trying to encourage you to go spend and waste money, but if this is something that you're like, man, I wonder if I'm gonna like that. You will. I'm pretty sure you will. I'll put my Earl stamp of approval on it. I think you'll like it. But not only that, the more people that do it, that support it, that push it, is going to push this to even further levels next season, next generation. And that's what I want to see. I want to see VR become a little bit more mainstream so that the technology can be enhanced, so that it's not as cumbersome to wear, so that it's not, so it's just, you jump right in, and then you can jump right out when you're done, as opposed to all this gear you got to get together. One other thing, I've been looking at a new gaming chair, right? I've spent a bunch of money in the past getting chairs, and when you're sitting at your desk, I work from home too, so I'm always like slouching in my chair. It's always falling apart, after a couple of months, because I get the cheaper chairs. I get the $75, $80, which sounds like a good deal, but I've gotten $20 chairs, $30 chairs. They fall apart when you're sitting in these things all day long. Even when you sit in a couch chair, if you're sitting in a couch chair for 8 to 10 hours a day in the same spot, it's going to start wearing. I mean, we have a decent, nice leather couch, and the spot I sit, it's got an indent. And so I went and did some research, and I found a chair that a lot of people love. It's the Secret Lab Omega series chair, and I just wanted to kind of give a quick review on it. This chair it's expensive. Right now it's on sale for like $300 something, but that being said, it's a piece of furniture as opposed to a desk chair that you're going to have to replace every couple of years. This thing is like a cockpit or like a car seat, as opposed to just a standard, just a standard rolling chair, office chair that you can get at like Office Space or something. I can't really break it down into specifics because I don't care. What I care about is like, is this more comfortable to sit in? Does it feel sturdy? Does it feel quality? Will it last? And so the reviews I've read and seen on YouTube and stuff, this thing will last. Like, it's durable. The padding in it, it's not one of those like memory foam type chairs. When you sit in it, it's sturdy, right? It's soft but sturdy, and so it's like very firm. It's a very firm chair. Now I'm 5'8", 5'9", a little chunky right now. I could lose about 15 pounds, 20 pounds to be honest, but I'm not fat or nothing. So this thing, I fit snug in this chair. There's a bigger one called the Titan, so the Secret Lab Titan series. It's for a little bit bigger people, taller, and maybe heftier. But this one fits good for me. If you read online, it says, "Oh, not over 175." No, this thing can go up to like 260. You could be a big boy sitting in this chair, but you might be more comfortable in the Titan. As far as height, your head's not going to be falling off the back, even though they said the max height is like 5'9". No way. You could be 6 feet sitting in this thing, just to be real here. But the price difference isn't that much. But the Titan's just a bigger chair for a little bit more. That being said, this chair rolls smooth. It feels firm. You got way more options as far as reclining. You can recline and stop it in any position. And so I think it goes back to like 130 degrees. So I just got to say, I love it. So far, I mean, I've only had it for 4 or 5 days now, but I've been sitting in it quite a bit. I play my video games in it. I work from it. And it's hopefully going to be a good addition. Like I said, it's more than just a office chair. This is like a piece of furniture. It feels a bit more premium, and kind of like if you're a runner, you want to get a good pair of shoes. I mean, that's why I went a bit more than I'm used to paying for a chair. I said, I'm not a runner. I'm not I don't need to spend a ton of money on nice shoes. But I sit in this damn thing all day, every day, right? You want a nice bed. You want a comfy bed and a comfy pillow. I walk around with a bad back. I need something that's going to be supportive, that I'm not going to fall out of. I mean, the one chair I had, $90 I paid for it. And if I lean back on it, it'd flip. Because it's just a cheap, unstable base. It's like they have these racer chairs on Amazon that they look like racer chairs. That's the style where you see a lot of streamers play. They have these racer chairs, and for like $90, you think you're getting this good quality, but it's like mini racer chair for $90. I mean, the premium products start in the 300s, 250, 300s, and then you can obviously buy chairs that are thousands of dollars. I don't recommend that. I don't think there's a need. But this, for the price, I'm happy. And like I said, when you really put it into perspective and you're willing to pay thousands of dollars for a bed because you sleep in it every night, or hundreds of dollars for a pair of shoes, why not hundreds of dollars for a chair that you sit in literally 40 to 80 hours a week? I mean, I sit in this thing a lot because, again, I play a lot of video games and I work all day long in this thing. So it'd be nice if it could be a treadmill, right, and keep me moving, but that's not what I went for. Okay, move over to another topic here. Real quick, I want to talk about it, and I'll get into it a little bit more in a bit, but toxic gamers, okay? Don't be toxic. I know that this podcast, toxic gamers aren't going to be listening to this podcast most likely, but the reality is, like, mesh well with your counterparts when you're playing online games and you're playing with people that don't know you. What is the purpose of being a teammate that sucks? I just don't get it. I really don't. I'm super confused because a lot of times you can talk these toxic gamers down. I try to. So I'll get on I'll get on the headset, and people, you have a 14-year-old kid like, fuck you, blah 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 blah. Like, they're swearing at their teammates before the game begins. There's no reason. There's nothing happening. We're in the lobby and we're getting yelled at. And you just kind of, you say, hey, dude, you want to win, or are you not looking to win? And they usually come back, oh, of course I'm looking to win, blah, blah, blah. But it's just like, I'm so sick of it. There's so much of it. The toxicity is just, it's astounding. But in a little bit, I'm going to get into a couple of games I've been playing, and most of them are going to be no surprise to you, but I've noticed something about the level of toxicity in the gamer, in just my my brief encounters, but brief but repetitive. I'm gonna say repetitive encounters, because I do only random squads these days. Like, nobody I know is playing a lot of games, so I jump into random squads. I make friends that way in game, and then the ones that are good, we send our invites and we play again later. The ones that are bad they go down in history. They go down in flames. I kick them to the curbs. So the best thing I can say is if you run into toxic gamers, don't be toxic back. Just explain to them you're not interested in that. It sounds cheesy, but that's what I do. I just hey, I've had so many guys start off be like, yo, fuck you. Oh, what's this? You think you're so? I'm gonna steal your gun, yo. And I'm like, hey, are you looking to win this game, or you're just being a douchebag? Because if you're just being a douchebag, it's fine, but I just want to know so I can try hard or goof off this round. And then usually they're like, no, I want to win. I want to win. And they change their tone. I mean, a lot of them change their tone real quick. And so it's like, you just got to level set. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but hopefully talking more people do that. Hopefully it'll reduce the level of toxicity out there, but it's so bad. I mean, everything. I'm so nervous for my kid. My kids are pretty pure when it comes to this kind of stuff. They understand what bad words are. I don't know where they would have heard any of them, but but they understand what mean is now. They understand bad guy versus good guy. They understand cops and robbers. And so this is just such a different perspective, I mean, when I was a kid, internet didn't exist. I had shitty friends. I had friends that I was the smallest kid in school, right? So I had friends that beat the shit out of me because it was cool for them. They felt tough. I mean, I got real bullied, and I didn't even know it. I mean, I probably knew it, but I was so attached to having friends and wanting them to like me that, I didn't want them to be mad at me for them beating me up. Honestly, I mean, it sounds cheesy right there, but when you're 8 and they're throwing you in a trash can because you can fit in it and they can't, and then they roll that trash can down a hill, am I so stupid? Yeah, I'm looking back. Yeah, I'm an idiot for ever stepping foot in their yard again. But, they were the only people I knew, and they were popular. So I hung around, and I tried to continue to fit in, and I tried not to cry when it hurt real bad, and laughed about it, even though I was the joke, and just kept on trucking. And my whole goal was I wanted to have more friends that cheered for me at my graduation day than them. And I was successful. I was successful in that because I tried hard. But that's the difference, right? That's a repetitive a process that sucks really, really bad. But this day and age, it's addressed a bit differently. The local bullying, kids can't get away with the level at which they used to be able to get away with, and that's a very good thing. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Definitely happens. But it's so much easier to bully people online. And I'm not a puss about this. I'm not saying, oh, don't bully anybody, blah, blah, you shouldn't, because I don't think it's right. But at the same time, there's a difference between poking fun or just being silly and being completely toxic. And a lot of people online tend to fall into being a toxic person because it's so anonymous, and there's no repercussions. There's no repercussions for being just a complete loser douchebag. Oh, I'm so high right now. Fuck you all. I'm gonna get a blowjob later. Fuck you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And so, how do you separate the good and the bad? I mean, if you put a rating system on the player, then the toxic people, I don't know. I mean, it would be something that the companies like Sony and Microsoft and Steam or whoever would have to be the ones to manage it. But I think that giving players ratings to at least let you know what their toxicity level is, or if they're great. If I could at the end of every round of playing with people be like, this guy was friendly, give him a thumbs up or whatever. Now in Fortnite Save the World, there at the end screen, you're playing with 3 other players. And at the end screen after every match, you can give them a thumbs up. It never amounted to anything visually that we could see as players. Yet, I don't know if they're ever going to do anything with that, but when you, if they're using that data, it'd be good to know. Like, if I played 100 games, and out of those 100 games, I got 84 thumbs ups. Like, I'm a consistent, good team player. Now, you'd also have to give me the ability to give somebody a thumbs down, because when they're not a good player, and if you play enough, it should average out. Obviously, there's going to be people who just downvote everybody, but then those people should be reprimanded too, or maybe their votes shouldn't count because, if they're just toxic in that way. Same goes for people who are just nothing but thumbs up everybody. You got to find that even ground, but at the same time, do these companies, I don't think that they want to be in charge of all that, because something needs to be done when it comes to this. Maybe in the next generation, because it's so easy online to be a scumbag without any repercussions. And now people's accounts are tied, every game you buy digitally is tied to your account. If your account gets suspended, you're screwed, right? Every game you bought is now locked. So they're probably afraid of having to go that route and having the backlash from that, where people say, "Oh, I was wrongfully blocked or banned. I wasn't toxic, and you can't prove it." But I'd love to see it, man. I'll tell you, even if it's not going to be something that results in a ban or whatever, I think that knowing the player rating, knowing the level of toxicity that's coming into my friggin' ears, so I can mute them, and I'd love to be able to mute people automatically if they have a score that's lower than a certain number. That's the way you solve this type of shit. So, that's my suggestion. Alright, some quick gaming news. Telltale Games, if you've heard of this company, I'm sure you have if you're a decent, if you pay attention to any of the news in gaming. They have one of their biggest is The Walking Dead. The Telltale series is an episodic version of games that they basically just put together timed event type games where you finish chapters, right? They'll release 3 chapters, and then they'll come out with episode 2, and they'll release 4 more chapters or whatever. And I never really got into these types of games. I tried a little bit. I played a little bit of The Walking Dead and a little bit of the Game of Thrones one, but they've done the Minecraft story mode. They did Tales from Borderlands. They did Back to the Future, Game of Thrones. They're closing shop. As a matter of fact, it's in the process of closing as we speak, and they're liquidating their assets. They're shutting down, and their games are being pulled from the stores. And it's just a sad moment in the fact that yet another semi-big. I mean, I don't know if they're AAA title, but they're a big name in gaming. A lot of people really love these Telltale series games. I've seen a lot of things. The Wolf Among Us is another one that was big, and I don't know. It kind of sucks to see that happen, but what does that mean for the industry as a whole? Now you have a whole bunch of developers who have a little bit more experience under their belts. Maybe they can meet up with other companies and help bolster their lineups. Lord knows we have enough companies creating enough games. There's so many, but at the same time, it sucks to see when a big-time studio or a mid-big-time studio starts closing shop. So Telltale Games is done. We won't be having any more of those, and that sucks. Some more news, PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. For those not familiar with this game, it is a battle royale that was exclusive to Xbox and PC. It is one of the bigger streamed games, or it was one of the bigger streamed games for quite some time, even though it had lots of defects, lots of bugs. And the company itself, they did a good job of upkeeping and maintaining, but a lot of times it just kind of fell through. Their control schemes were a little bit out of whack for a lot of players, and like I said, when it came to Xbox, there was a lot of graphics issues and things like that. They've solved all that, I think, for the most part, and they're going to be releasing this on the PlayStation 4, and it's coming out really soon, December 7th. Crazy stuff. They're going to be releasing this thing. Prices range from anywhere from $30 to $90 for packs that you can get. This is another one of those big ones like Fortnite where they want you to buy a bunch of shit in the game, different outfits and things. There's going to be a PS4 exclusive outfit, the Nathan Drake outfit with like a Ellie's backpack from Last of Us. Kind of cheesy, but yeah, that's it. I mean, this is a big one. A lot of people were pissed off that this thing wasn't on PS4 back when Fortnite came out, because a lot of people who hate Fortnite, they loved PUBG. And it was kind of a hit or miss. Like, not many people did both, you know? Now you have not Battlefield, you have Call of Duty, Blackout, which is just like in my opinion, and from a lot of reviews I've seen, this is a much better PUBG. You know, Blackout is a battle royale in the same vein as PUBG. So, you know, there's no building and things like that. It's heavily relied on your backpack, the items in your backpack, your heals, your gadgets, as well as your gear, your armor, your helmet, all that shit. So we'll see how it does. I think it'll do fine, right? Especially with those price points, $90. But who knows? A lot of these games, they never got finished. You know, they're just like still in beta, basically. But they make so much money that they're just rolling straight into, you know, selling it at these heavy levels. Again, it was an Xbox exclusive. I don't know if there's going to be cross-play. I haven't seen anything on that. But again, it's going to be out in less than a month. We'll see how it handles. It's supposed to have PS4 Pro enhancements. So if you have a Pro, be on the lookout for that as well. I don't think this is a system seller. I don't think people are going to be like, oh, finally, now I can get that PS4. But at the same time, it's cool that the game is finally coming to PlayStation. I'm not going to be getting it. I already own it for the PC. Not a big fan of it. Maybe I'll jump into it on the PC just to see if it's, I bought it on the PC a long time ago, but haven't played it since I bought it. Talking about bugs and defects. My buddy Jed showed me a video today on Fallout 76, and all I gotta say is defects. Holy shit. This game, the video quality of the YouTube video I watched, I thought I was watching a PS2 game. I mean, it just looks like shit. Now, I'm sure that a lot of that had to do with the rendering from both the streamer and the YouTube video quality, but oh my god. One of the things that you see when you look at a Fallout game, even Fallout 4, which I don't have anything bad to say about Fallout 4. Good game. It's just more than I could handle at the time. I mean, I put in 20 something hours. I had a lot of fun. But we have so much to do in gaming. There's so many games to play, and I want to play all of them. I don't have time to be building bases that just seem pointless. I don't have time to be defending on, non-mission based defenses. Like, you're going to do something, they're like, hey, you got to get back to that other base because it's being attacked. And you go do that, and it's like, that doesn't really progress anything. It's just part of the game. I don't have time for that shit. And so Fallout 76 comes out, and there's so much hoopla about this. All the big time guys are saying, we put more money and more time into this game than any other game from Bethesda. We've done this, we've done that, new system for this, new lighting, new everything. And this game it just looks like a pile of shit. I don't know what to say. There's going to be people who, when I looked at the reviews for this game, and they range anywhere from a 2 out of 10 to like a 9 out of 10. Some people they have the hard on for Fallout, and they're gonna ride it, and they're gonna say this is the best game. This is so good. The people that were given it seemed like honest reviews. They were like, look, it's just quest markers. There's no story. There's no like details. Like a lot of the Fallouts have at least people talking to you, telling you what's going on. In this one, it's like, you're here, and there's quests. Go find them. And the quests aren't given with a textual dialogue. They're all audio cues and all, wave files playing. And if you miss it, there's nowhere to go back and reread it, No quest log that tells you the details of these things. I mean, there probably is a quest log, but as far as like the story and the lore and all that, they have these like long multi-minute audio clips that play, But then there's things that happen in the game while you're listening to this audio clip. You don't want to stand there for 2 minutes while you're listening, so you're walking around, and then you might introduce another audio clip that overrides the first one, and now you're shit out of luck if you wanted to hear that first one, because you can't go back and play it again. So that, along with the astounding amount of defects, like graphical glitches, falling through the map, light coming from dirt as opposed to the sky, just lots of glitching out, lots of unable to move through certain things that you should be able to move through. Now, obviously, when you find a compilation on YouTube that doesn't reflect all of the actual elements of the game, you're going to see people who are trying to find those things and trying to expose it. But for a $60 game, this just does not feel finished, and I would say stay away from this game for, wait. I know I was reading today that they're putting a patch out for this game. I would wait till that patch has been completely vetted and approved by the community before jumping in, because even if they patch this game right away, fuck them for releasing a game that they knew wasn't ready. If they have a patch coming out this soon, less than a week after the game came out, that's either piss poor management on their part, because when you're developing, you do internal testing. You do beta testing. You hear about these defects before they hit the prime time. So either they knew that all these defects existed and they wanted to release this game to their customers and had that $60 payday from each customer who bought this game before everyone shat on it because they knew they weren't going to finish this game, or they have such a shitty testing department that that their testers did not report all these defects. Now, I just got to say, I've worked a lot in testing, not in video game testing, but testing for applications and things like that. A lot of people I've worked with in the past just sign off because they don't want to do all the testing. It's a monotonous thing. It's very boring sometimes. Even if you think, oh, I'd love to test video games. Not so much. It's not, hey, play this game until you are done having fun. It's run through these series of steps. I'm going to write it out. Step 1, walk to the edge of the map. Step 2, try to step off the edge of the map. Step 3, try to, this, that. It's like repeatable process over and over. Now, if you can think of a multiplayer game like this, or a huge game like this, the level of testing has got to be astounding. It's just amazing. To think when I worked on testing for websites, and it's like, oh, click the home button, and then from the home button, what are all the options you could do? And you go through and you map it all out, and then you write test plans for every option from that page, and you try to break it, or you try to make sure that every link goes to where it's supposed to. And then you go to every link, and so every link off of the main page, each one gets its own test script, and all the links off of those, just keep building it out like a tree until everything is covered. Well, how do you do that on a video game that has so many so many options? But at the same time, they should be playing through their game in its entirety before they release it. To me, that would be a smart thing, right? I mean, I don't even care if it's a 100-hour game. You put 10 people on it and say, the 10 of you play through this game, all of you individually, for the next 2 weeks until you beat it. That's your job. And you tell me every defect you find. And then you fix those defects and you have them play through it again. And then they'll give you more, because you might introduce new defects. Now, in this new world, right, where it's send you the game and then patch it on day one, it's just crazy to me, because they have these deadlines and they have these timelines that they're like, we're going to meet the timeline, but if we got to get approved by Sony or Microsoft to put it on the store on this day, well, then the timeline, then we have 2 extra weeks to continue working on it, and then we'll set a patch up on the first day. So we'll fix all these things that we know are broken, but then they might not get to it because other shit gets stirred up. And so that's what's happening here, is many companies are just rushing to the door, rushing to be the first ones out, rushing to get the initial sales. A lot of times it's because they know their game is not going to do as well as it should, or as well as it could. And they want to get the pre-embargo Like they have this embargo now where they let people play the game, but they're not allowed to talk about the game in a negative light or a positive light until a certain day. So reviewers get the game, they play it, they might hate it, but legally they're obligated, or they're not allowed to talk about the game. Non-disclosure agreements and things. I've been there. It sucks though, because a company that is afraid of you talking about their game is a company that's not confident in their game. Or there is a flip side to that. The flip side is that maybe they just have something so special that they can't wait for everyone to find out all at once. And that's cool too, but that does not happen that often. Let's be real. It doesn't. Some additional stuff. I was reading that Command and Conquer, if you're an old-time PC player, one of the first big-time online games you could play, Command and Conquer is getting a remastered edition. It looks like both Red Alert and Command and Conquer Online are getting remastered for current-day generation. It's in development as we speak, and I recall playing that game a lot. I mean, if you played Warcraft or StarCraft, this was a lot like that, except for, like real soldiers and tanks and things like that. I had a lot of fun playing Command and Conquer, but I was also like 12 or 13, I think, at the time. So I would definitely look forward to it. Now, I have a decent PC, so I might pick this one up when it comes out, just for nostalgia's sake, and try it out and see. But yeah, I put a lot of time into those games back in the day. We're talking back when CDs for computers were the thing, and there was no downloads. This was like, you buy the game on CD, and that's the game you play. Another funny thing, PlayStation Classic. It's coming out in early December here, just in time for Christmas, just after the Thanksgiving holiday. They don't want to put it out there and then have everyone demand a Black Friday sale for it. So they're waiting until next week, the week after Thanksgiving, to get this thing out there. It has been determined that it is going to be running, or it's running its games on this thing using a PC SX emulator, which is the PlayStation emulator for PC that you could download back in the day. Now, I talked to Joe about this. We talked about this quite a bit, many different times. I said, most people who know better know that they could put more than 20 fucking games on this little tiny piece of shit, right? They got this little box that is the same size as my RetroPie, and I'm not going to go into details about what a RetroPie is, because that has a whole slew of things, but the nitty-gritty on that is that you have this little mini computer, right? You can put it behind your TV. You can have it play, be like a streaming PC so that you can watch movies off of it, Netflix, things like that. Just a really small, like a Roku box almost, right? But a PC with limited functionality. But I could put every video game that existed prior to 2004, probably. I could put every console game ever on like one jump drive, plug that thing in, and play it. Thousands and thousands of games. Everything from Atari, Neo Geo, TurboGrafx 16, Genesis. I mean, all of it. Nintendo 64. And Sony included, right? Every Sony game. Yeah, and you could fit it all, because the files, maybe back in the day, you might have remembered, I need more hard drive space. Well, we are in an age where hard drive space doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't matter. With all the storage that you have online, you can go to Google and upload every video and picture you've ever had, and they'll take it. Everything ever. No matter how much you got, they'll take it. You could buy extra space for next to nothing. For I think $80, I got 4 terabytes hard drive. It's just amazing. It's still so much space. And what's crazy is, the games are getting bigger, so you need more space to play more games. Not everyone's like me and has like 85 games installed on their PlayStation, but at the same time, you just know that a little tiny thing like this PlayStation Classic, it can hold everything. and they put 20 damn games on it, and now you find out it's using the actual emulator that someone else generated to play games on your computer. Basically, it was this illegal app that you could download, and you could play PlayStation games, emulate them on your computer, and that's what they're using to emulate it on this damn thing. So the file sizes of the files are next to nothing. So they really are. I mean, maybe it's licensing, maybe it's contractual and all that, and maybe 20 is all they could afford, but I just find it so absolutely self-righteous and shitty for PlayStation, for Sony to limit, to put such few games on this thing and then charge $100. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to be playing every game on this thing because they want to. They're going to do it because they paid $100 for it. A lot of the games on this thing are shit. No one cares about a lot of these games. You're going to play it for nostalgia's sake. You're going to put that thing down, and you're going to ever touch it again. Very few kids are going to sit through playing these classic consoles because they're just not as fun. And your phone is going to attract their attention because scientifically, these companies, Apple, Google, all these big-time companies are, using true, patterns to mesmerize these kids, to get them into playing. I mean, there's science done on advertising and marketing and placement of products and placement of icons and placement of logos so that your eyes are being drawn to it whether you want them to or not. And if you don't think that they're doing that on these mobile games and catching the attention and catching the eyes of your children, there's a reason Angry Birds or Minecraft or I don't know. I mean, just Roblox, all these games. There's a reason those are the games that all these kids are drawn to. It is not because they're the best games you've ever seen. It isn't. It's the sounds. It's the elements. It's what their eyeballs are seeing is better than what they've ever seen before. And we might look as adults and say, "What? I don't get this Minecraft. I don't get this Roblox. I don't get the fun." But you pick it up. It's easy to play. Easy to adapt to, and the colors are hitting home for their palates, their eyes, and there's something going on. These companies know how to get your kids. They didn't in 1986 like they do in 2018. They didn't know. They had an inkling, right? They understood a bit, but things have changed a lot since the 80s. In a marketing standpoint, in a digital standpoint, in a presentation standpoint, what they can deliver. Kids aren't going to sit and play these things. So if you're going to buy them for your kids, it's a waste of money, in my opinion. If you're going to buy them because of the nostalgia, it's a waste of money because you can go play all these games for free. Just Google it. Now, if you honestly think you're going to be playing these 20 games for $100 and it's worth it, more power to you. Stand by it, be convicted, show your conviction on it, and play them and stream it if you can. But it's sad to me. It sucks. This thing should either be $20 with 20 games or $100 with every game PlayStation 1 ever had. And that's an end of story from my point. That's the only way that price point makes sense. The kind of a gaming thing that I want to talk about is I found this new streamer. His name is Kittboga. 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 You can find him on twitch.tv/Kittboga. And this guy is absolutely friggin' hilarious. He is doing God's work right here. This guy's whole stream is dedicated to playing a little bit of games and a whole lot of scamming scammers. Now, what is scamming scammers, you might ask? This guy he has a sound system that can change his voice on the fly, and he has like 7 or 8 characters that he can do really, really well. And he has a list of all the scam numbers. When you get those phone calls, they're like, "Hey, you just won a grant, and you got to call us back to receive that grant." Or the IRS scammers who call you up and say, "Yes, you are fraudulent on your IRSs and we're going to come arrest you tomorrow unless you pay us this $99. And so he exposes these scams, and he knows the people he's calling are scammers, and he broadcasts it, and he sees how long he can keep them on. So he's got a timer going, and he tells you that each stage, he knows their scripts, and he has his character. I mean, if you've ever worked in a call center and you're trying to get a credit card information or something from a nice old lady, and she's telling you about her cat and her bowel movements, and keeps getting her son involved or her grandson involved and everything, and you're just like, gosh, hurry up. That's what this guy's doing, but he's doing all the characters himself. He records like cutscenes and stuff behind that he can play when he's being one character and he's having a conversation with another character, but it's all him, and it's some of the most ingenious stuff, and it's so funny because these people that he's talking to are absolute scumbags, and you know they're absolute scumbags because they're stealing people's money, and no matter how nice they are, right? A lot of them come across as super friendly or nice, and like they're really looking out for you, and by the end of it, he exposes every one of them and explains to you after he's done what they were doing and how they were scamming, because not everything is like a tax scam, right? Even the tech support, you might get a malware on your computer, and it pops up and says, "Hey, your system is infected. Call this number. Call Microsoft." And you call a number, and it's not Microsoft; it's the virus or the malware on your computer. And they say, "Yes, if you don't pay us this $80, then you can't get out of your computer. Your computer's going to be locked. It's going to be destroyed forever." A lot of people know that's bullshit. Some people don't, and some people fall for it, and they pay. So he exposes that as well, and maybe these people do go in and fix their computer and stuff, but the way that they get that payment is because their company or whoever's paying them has caused that malware to be on your computer. So it's not by chance you're getting someone who's actually helping you or trying to help you. They are all screwing you over, and he proves it. He uses a virtual machine, which is like it's not a real computer. It's a section of his computer set up to replicate the actions of a computer, and he can program everything in that. He's built his own, UI, his own applications within that, and so these people come in and start tweaking with his stuff, and he can see everything that they're doing on the back end. He knows all their little tricks, and so they'll connect to the computer and try to modify system files and things, and he can catch them dead in their tracks because of how he's set this thing up. And he always, he confuses them, and usually if he keeps them on for long enough, he'll expose who he is, or expose that, he's been scamming them. Like, he'll start talking in his regular voice and confuse them and stuff. All I can say is check it out. You'll be addicted. Kittboga. Guy's hilarious. It just showed up on my radar. I don't know how long he's been going for, but looks like a while. A year or 2, 3, 4, I don't know. You might not be the first time you've ever heard of him, but he's hilarious and his personas are great, so check him out. Okay, some PSVR and PS5 rumors are coming out because so Sony has decided to pull out of E3, this upcoming E3. Now, as a gamer fan, I'm always super excited about E3. E3 has kind of been built up to be this showcase for every system, every company to step up and show us why their system is the best and what they've got coming, what's in store for the future for their systems. And with Sony canceling their PSX is their yearly news conference. They canceled that just last month. And so everyone was wondering, I wonder what's going to happen. Maybe E3, they're going to have a big announcement. Well, they just said, we're not doing E3. Now, I can understand it from a company perspective. You want to control the narrative, right? And E3 has turned into who won E3, right? Did Nintendo win E3? Did Xbox win E3? Did Sony? And we're nearing, as much as you don't want to believe it, we're nearing the end of the life cycle of this generation, of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Now, Nintendo does their own thing, so Switch just came out last year, and it's doing very well. So Nintendo kind of has its own release cycle that differs from these generational cycles of PlayStation and Xbox. But as a console gamer, you know that if PlayStation's coming out with a new system, Xbox is going to too, because hardware changes, price of hardware changes, and the speed of everything changes, power of everything changes. But also, these systems are all being made in the same place, Foxconn, over in China, I think. And so when Foxconn is putting together millions of units, the same people are going to be assembling, or maybe, I don't know if it's the same exact people, but the same, factories are going to be assembling both products. And I could be completely wrong on Microsoft where their stuff is being built, but let's be honest, it's going to be in factories, and components, similar components will be in both of these systems. And so when the price starts being driven down by Sony because they need these components, Microsoft will get in on that, and vice versa. So as the price is driven down. Now, a lot of times these systems come out because they know the length and the lifespan of the system, they'll make money off of it. So they come out and they're actually losing money on these systems. I mean, who knows if they're really losing money? But it's always been rumored that, like, when the PlayStation 3 came out, they were losing like $100 a console. So they relied on every person to have to purchase 2 games before they started making money, or something like that. Well, now with the with the PlayStation Plus and all the extra ways they're getting money from you, all these microtransactions and all these games and stuff, they're going to be doing just fine. They just need to get you a system that can handle the newer breed of games that are coming out. Like we saw with the end of the life cycle for the PlayStation 3, one of the big games that came out was Skyrim. That came out towards the end of PlayStation 3, and Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, Grand Theft Auto 5 is still a prominent game on PlayStation 4 and Xbox and all that. It's a huge game, but it looked really good on the PlayStation 3. So they even said this at the beginning of PlayStation 4. I remember watching a lot of reviews, and some of the games that came out looked like crap. And people said, well, wait till the end, or the later parts of the generation, right? When it gets time, when you're starting to see, news of PlayStation 5, the games coming out for the PlayStation 4 are just going to be blowing your mind. And here we have some awesome VR games coming out. Here we have some incredible PlayStation games and Xbox games, like, Red Dead Redemption 2, what a very beautiful game. I mean, it's phenomenal. And it is a step up from Grand Theft Auto 5. It is different. It is more amazing to see. So I think Rockstar, they haven't released something in a long time. The last big game was Grand Theft Auto 5, which was like 5 years ago. 5 years ago. And now you have Red Dead Redemption 2, which was a lot of people were waiting for so long. I think Rockstar they know the life cycle. They know that they get this game out now, they're going to be able to resell it for the next generation of consoles that comes out. So they did the same thing with Grand Theft Auto 5. I think they probably have a bit of insight as to when the next systems come. I think they timed the release of Red Dead properly, in the holiday season 2019 or 2018. Because I bet that early 2020, like March of 2020, I bet you're going to be seeing PlayStation 5 released around then. Now, PlayStation 4 was November. Maybe they'll do the same thing, November-ish. So maybe we'll see November 2020 or November 2019. I doubt it for the 2019. I doubt it because leaks and rumors and things would be astounding. I mean, I know that there's NDAs, but there are disgruntled people everywhere who are willing to risk everything just to say, I know more. And that's kind of how we got some information. There was somebody who, the day before Sony announced that they weren't going to be going to E3, some guy posted on Reddit, and he said, hey, Sony's pulling out of E3. And I know for a fact. And then people asked him some additional questions, and he provided some additional feedback. He said that the PlayStation 5 is going to be coming out sometime in 2020. And he even gave some more details on the VR, the 2.0. And he said that the processing unit, the breaker box for the VR, is going to be built into the PlayStation 5. So everyone who has a PS5 is going to be able to play the VR as long as they have the headset. I think that's phenomenal news. That's a huge step in the right direction for VR. No one wants that extra box, but it's going to drive up the price. From what I understand too, that PS5 is going to be built to be a beast, native 4K gaming, and 60 frames per second, blah, blah, blah. That's, hopefully it's a big step up from the Pro. The headset for the VR is said to have internal camera based on this guy's assessment. And internal camera on the headset is going to provide better tracking. So if you have your PlayStation camera and the headset camera, they can kind of line up a little bit, and you won't get that drift, hopefully. I think that's something that's kind of expected. The headset I have for the computer, the Windows Mixed Reality headset, has those front-facing cameras for position tracking, and I don't get a whole lot of problems with that. So hopefully Sony integrates that as well. Also, and this goes without saying, but new Move controllers and the potential for games coming out at the end of the PS4 lifecycle working on both PS4 and PS5. Who knows if there'll be like exclusivity to that? Like, buy this game now and you'll be able to play it on the PS5 for, buy it now for a limited time. Or if it'll just be all PS4 games will work on PS5. I hope to hell that they do that. I've been saying this before. Don't make us pay for these things twice. Make a system that can play all my library, and I'll buy it, and I'll buy more games. Just don't make me pay twice. I won't do it. And so these are all rumors, but I think that they fit in line with what we expect, right? We expect the PS5 to be a beast. We expect it to come out in the next few years. We expect the VR processor to be better. We expect the headset to have better tracking. We expect new Move controllers. And I expect games to be compatible, PS4 to PS5. Because of the new era of digital gaming, it should be automatic. All right. I'm going to whip through some stuff real quick, and then we're going to wrap up this podcast. I already went into some things I wanted to talk about, so this shouldn't take too long. Recent additions to my backlog. Okay, I'm going to add this new little tidbit because I buy a lot of games, and so this week I purchased Creed Rise to Glory and the Persistence VR. Both of those games are VR games. I've been talking a lot about Creed. Now it's time to get in and throw on my boxing gloves and start beating some asses out there. If you want to box me and you got Creed Rise to Glory, please send me a message. I'll fight you. Okay, for real, I'll fight you. The Persistence is supposed to be a procedurally generated type VR experience where it's never the same. Might be the same bad guys, but the levels are never the same. So it's a scary game with zombies that come running at you and everything. Nothing but high ratings for this game. A lot of people love it. So I've been coerced into buying it. It was on sale. Definitely picked it up. Same with Creed on sale. I grabbed those. And as I talked earlier about my boy Hansen in NXT WWE, I went and purchased the WWE 2K19 premium package. Right now it's on sale for Black Friday for like $45. Comes with everything, the season pass and everything. And tomorrow, 11/20, 11/20, you're gonna see the addition of Rowe and Hansen, the War Raiders. They're getting patched in. They're getting not patched in, but a DLC, the Titans pack. And I bought this game because my friend is in it, and he's gonna be in it on the 20th, and I can't friggin' wait. They have a whole move set for him. It's just so cool. It really is. It's like, it's awesome. I have the action figure of Hansen. My kid's favorite wrestler is Hansen. They think that nobody should be able to beat him. I had my son jump in and play the Hansen versus the Ultimate Warrior, and because you can download Hansen right now out of the created characters, but I can't wait to have the actual one. And so that comes out in a couple days, and so I bought that game. And those are some new games. I've already jumped into WWE 2K19, played a little bit of it. The game looks great. I used to love those old THQ games that came out with WCW and Raw and all those games. And I'll tell you what, the amount of moves and everything, they've made it so cumbersome to play these wrestling games, more so than it used to be. But there's more to do, and they add everything. I mean, you can do like taunts from laying on your back, and if the guy's standing above you, and taunts if you're laying on your back and the guy's laying down by your feet. Taunts if you're like, it's just crazy the amount of customization in this game. So, I mean, you get what you pay for. It's a full game, but we'll see. We'll see what it delivers, if it has any longevity. I like to go in and make all my friends as creative characters, but I don't think I have time for that right now. So, but I will be playing as Hanson, trying to win the belts. Okay, what have I been playing this week? I've been playing. This is a little segment I really wanted to get into, so I'm going to skirt over it as deep. I'm going to go deep as I can without talking your ear off here. But I played Tetris this week. Definitely enjoyed that. I'm still loving it. Tetris Effect is, for me, it's the real deal. I've heard, I was listening to Play PSVR, and Adam over there was talking shit about it, and rightfully so. If you don't like it, yeah. I mean, if it's not for you, yeah. But this isn't a music game. This isn't a puzzle game. This is Tetris. The innovator of puzzle games. The innovator of this style that so many have tried to replicate. And so you're playing Tetris. Now, in Tetris Effect, there's levels, and each level has its own theme, and those themes come with music and visuals and all that. And so, for some who are expecting every visual and every music or every song or a sound scheme to be like amazing, I say, why? Like, I'm not why. I mean, I understand why you would expect that, but at the same time, you can't sit down and watch 100 movies and expect every one of them to cater to you, right? There's going to be people who like the things that you don't like. And so you may have a specific fancy. There might be certain levels in Tetris that you really enjoy over others. But understand that the underlying game is build blocks, try to get as many points as you can with the allotted time / row count. And so the surrounding atmosphere isn't necessarily what you should be looking for. You should be looking for the gameplay, and the atmosphere that provides is just part of the challenge, in my opinion. That's part of the challenge, because each atmosphere brings different challenges. Some of them are flashing lights and things that are getting in your way, and you're kind of put into the beat of the music, and then other levels have a different feel, a different tone, a different look that, maybe the images are harder to visually see, and so you're it's playing mind games on you. But the game is Tetris, and the visuals and all that are, to me, just absolutely mesmerizing. I'm loving it. I'm loving going in and just immersing myself in it. So I still stand by it. I think Tetris is an A-class game, and I'm going to continue to play it. I love it. I'm not the best by any means, but it makes me feel challenged while I'm playing it, because it does get harder, and it gets to a point where I personally can't go further. You play it to a point where it's too much. But then, just like push-ups, right? You do one push-up today, you might be able to do push-ups, 2 push-ups tomorrow, and you might be able to do 10 by next week. Well, with this, you just keep pushing yourself, and you can go further. And that's what I've noticed. Like, you condition yourself to expect and understand and anticipate. Things get faster, you get better. And I'm still at a peak where, as it gets to a certain point, I can't keep up. Not even close to like my brother could. My brain isn't working that fast, but I feel myself being challenged, and I feel myself getting better. And that's what I'm going to push towards, and I'm going to strive towards it, and I'm going to keep playing it. The other games I've been playing. Okay. I'm going to get this one out of the way. I'm playing Spider-Man finally. I've pushed past the 50% mark, and I'm actually, I would say, much further in the game, because I'm 50% through the story, but I am almost 100% complete every side mission. And so I've been focusing on that. I want to clean up. I just hate having lingering side missions and things. So it's like, find all the backpacks, find all this, find all that, get all the birds, get all this, and I'm doing all that. And that takes time, because you have to jump across the whole city, you have to find all the different pockets of villains and things. So if you've already played through the game, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, There's side missions and stuff that help get you new powers and new suits and new gadgets and things like that. So I'm playing through this. I hopefully can complete it, 100%. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a completionist. I don't care normally about that, but I feel like I could at least complete everything I see, everything that's telling me, hey, go find this stuff. I'll do that. And so I'm on my way. I feel like if I just start playing the story mission, I'll beat it in a couple of hours. So I'm getting close. This week, I'll definitely have it done by the end of this week because with the holidays and everything, some downtime hopefully. I anticipate a nice, solid, and complete Spider-Man experience so that I can jump into, it's a toss-up, I might have to throw some dice, but I got Red Dead Redemption 2 or God of War, and so I want to play one of those two because they're both phenomenal games. But maybe I can bust through God of War and then jump into Red Dead Redemption 2 before too many spoilers hit. Moving on to what other things I'm playing this week. Okay, so here's the breakdown. And this is the theme of the moment right now in my mind. You got Fortnite, which is, again, still the most powerful game in the history of gaming. It's got the biggest player base across all the platforms. They've managed to figure out how to do crossplay amongst, I could be playing with an iPhone user. I could be playing with Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Android, and an iPhone, all in the same game. And the player base is still massive. They're putting out their money making is with costumes and outfits and things. And that's how they make their hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, is by new costumes, and they have a team of people that are putting out awesome content for those costumes. It's a bit much, but at the same time, it's quality, and the one thing that I have to say though is that in the past, see, one of the things that brought me back into Battle Royale, because if you remember, I played Battle Royale when it came out back a year ago, and I played the hell out of it. I played a lot of Battle Royale, but before anything was purchasable, I played it. And then there came the Halloween skins. I didn't pay for those. I wish I did at the time. I was like, oh man, I wish I had that. But I didn't. And then there was the season 1, and I didn't do it. I didn't jump in. I didn't even play. I didn't log in. I jumped over to Save the World, and I played Save the World forever. I played so much Save the World that I am just now at level 99. And I played so much. It gets to a point where you're just grinding and grinding. I had a lot of fun with that game. Save the World is a phenomenal version of a game, but it's endless. And it's pointless after a while. The story just kind of fizzles out because they never finished it. And they're still adding to it. But it's like, it's never gonna be done, even when they continue to add to it. Even when they complete whatever they currently have, they'll build another route, another area, and, they'll add new levels, and they just made a major release where you're still getting XP, and even if you're capped out. So, long story short, I skipped out for a while. And what brought me back was watching streamers play and seeing the story that they were building in Season 4 with the meteor and the different things happening. And then all of a sudden Dusty Depot gets exploded, and now it's Dusty Divot. And why is this happening? I fell for it. I loved it. And I got into it. I started playing it. But the characters that they released seemed to fall in line with the story. They had the season, and the unlockables during the season were characters that were part of the season. And even going into Season 5, you had the same type of thing. And now Season 6, it just feels like such a clusterfuck that I'm bored of it. I'm bored of the season. I like the game. I like the gameplay. I like the tournaments they're now over. The fall skirmish had ended, and now there's this lull because there's no it seems like Epic is regrouping right now. They're probably in their off season, letting people take vacations and things for the holidays, and they're probably in a lull so that for the next season, that season 7, which is coming out in less than a month, they can hit it again with like the winter skirmish, and start doing the tournaments again, probably, I imagine. And on top of that, maybe come up with a more incredible storyline. I mean, they built up this huge thing with the cube, and they built up the what happens afterwards. The cube exploded, the floating island disappeared, and now you have a new loot lake. But what's funny is not a lot of people go near that thing. I mean, whenever I play, I like going into Loot Lake or Leaky Lake or whatever it's called. But it's only just 1 or 2. You'd think it would be like a battleground, but it's a divot, and people don't like going into a divot. Dusty Divot is good because it's covered with trees and stuff, and there's a lot to do down there. But Leaky Lake is like a wide open, area. You can be sniped from a lot of different places. So when you go down in there, people know from across the map that there's someone in that divot. So it's just it's not the revolutionary thing that happened to the map that I would have hoped for from the events of the cube. I still think that the lead up to the cube thing was cool. The explosion was amazing. Being part of that whole cutscene thing was cool. The in-game moment. They're still doing awesome things, but there's just nothing going on in the game. It's like boring. The stories are non-existent, and they're doing a lot of experimenting. They turned on glider mode for everything, and then they turned off glider mode for everything. So now, just when you're getting used to it, a month later, now it's gone, and you're like, man, I wish it was back. They added a new mode where it's like 24 versus 24 or something, or 12 versus 12 of tomato heads versus hamburger heads, and you have to go break the opponent. Like, you have time to build up a base around your tomato head or your burger head statue, and then once the timer's done, you go and try to kill the other person's statue. Interesting concept. I mean, they're toying with new things. And then they also integrated these new tournaments for players. They have squad tournaments or duo tournaments or solo tournaments where you can play and get pins. I don't know really what that's all about, but I'm assuming that they're using those systems to look for new players to invite to future tournaments and things. But it's interesting. You expect a lot from this company because they continuously do these updates. Every week there's new patches. Every week there's new characters. Every week there's new this, that, the other thing. But it's at a point where it's just kind of getting boring to me. And maybe that'll pass. I mean, every time I say I'm kind of getting done with it, something happens and I get sucked right back in. But I haven't been so addicted to play it this week. In fact, I haven't played it a lot. I played a couple games here and there. I did try to go in and do the tournament and try to bust out. And, you have to get 30 points over the course of 4 hours. I just don't have 4 straight hours to play. I play a lot of gaming, but I have to get up. I have to make dinner for the kids. I have to put the kids to bed, give them a bath, do all these things before Crystal even gets home, and do laundry, clean up around the house, this, that, the other thing. And so, like, I'm a spot and go player. I'll play 3 or 4 rounds. I'll get up, do some things. I'll come back. I'll play another round or 2, but I leave my system on all day, and I just pop in when I can. That's what the best part about Fortnite is, that you can just play for 15 minutes and be done with it. And so I do that. But with this right here, to get the 30 or 40, you have to be either really good and get all those points in a couple of rounds, or grind it out over the course of 4 hours. And I just don't have the 4 straight hours to be doing it. So I haven't successfully made the 30 points needed on these tournaments that they do in the game. But it's a cool concept, and I'm gonna keep peeking over there and playing and getting my V-Bucks and things. But I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing because there's so many other things to play. So because of that lull, I'm able to jump into Spider-Man and try to tackle that and play some Tetris. But I also jumped into Black Ops. I got to play with Joe finally. Thanks, Joe, for playing with me. But I've been playing a lot of Black Ops, and also what just came out this week was Battlefield 5. Now, my wife won me a copy of Battlefield 5, and so I got it for free. But under no circumstances am I obligated to give it a positive review based off of that free. I don't even know who she got it from. But my honest review is that I think this is the best Battlefield. In my limited time playing, I played 2 or 3 days in a row now, multiple hours each time, and I'm digging it. The guns feel legit. They feel right for the era. You know, it's World War II and everything. They're redoing that again. You know, you're not getting all this like laser sight, blah blah blah, crazy optic type stuff. You're getting just straight up guns, straight up grenades. You know, when you throw in an incendiary grenade and it explodes into fire and the people are getting hit by that fire, like it feels legit. Like the graphics are so good. And I'm reading all these reviews online. People are saying it's like mediocre, it's missing something. What the fuck are they talking about? Like, I don't know. When you can have 64 versus 64 or something like that on this game, or maybe it's 32 versus 30. I don't know. Just these huge games that last an hour. These wars. This game is like unlike Call of Duty. It's not Call of Duty. It's not Fortnite. It's not. It's just epic warfare, and they changed some things like spotting and this and that. But like, why should you be able to go tag everybody across the map just by smashing a button without even really seeing these people? So like, you can only call people out now. You know, and if you're not familiar, it's like when you see somebody in your scope of your gun, you used to be able to just trigger R1 or whatever, and then an arrow would light up above their head, and everyone on your team could see that arrow, no matter where they were, so they'd know there's a guy over there. Like, that's not legit, right? In World War II, for sure, no one had that level of fucking skill to be able to be like, oh, ding, there's a light over there. I know there's a guy hiding in those bushes because the guy on the other side of the map called him out. No. Not how it works. So now you could put like a note on the map. You can, like, a little yellow triangle pops up in the direction that you're pointing to call out, and you're saying there's somebody over there, be careful. Which is, it's doing the same thing, but not in a way that is just so unnatural. I loved it. I loved the call out system, but I hated it for the fact that I was also on the receiving end of that same system. So I like this better. You can totally set yourself up in a sniper, position. You can just lay in the middle of the desert with your desert camos on and snipe, and you can last a while. So when you're playing a Battlefield game, you're potentially gonna be playing. You could play 5 minutes before you die and have to respawn. You're running out of ammo in this one. For real. And so resupplying and getting rezzed or resuscitated by the medics, that's a very important part of this game to win. And so a lot of times you'll find that these people, they're not doing that. They're not providing you the ammo or whatever. That's the one downside, because the communication is so amongst the squads and the teams, it's so terrible. One of the things that I noticed is, so me and Jed were playing, and we're a team. We're actually grouped up in the game, and it locks our squadron. And I don't know if this is a bug or what, but like, nobody else can join my squad until I open it up and make it public. And so part of the game is that you might be on a 64 person team, but you can pop in to anyone else's squad if there's a spot. You can have up to 4 people in a squad. Well, all of them are locked unless someone unlocks it. So now you can't just go condense the squad. So now there's like 15 squads on your, all Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. It's just like all the way down to K and L. Everyone's in their own squad. I think you should be able to condense that and jump in. I guess they're doing it to control the toxicity, right? You don't want, but at the same time, the communication is so important. If you're communicating properly in a Battlefield game, you can change the tide of the game. So I feel like they need to fix that. And so, it's just something that, like, I think it's a strong system to be able to, contain your communication within the squad that you have. I think it makes sense. You don't want 40 people talking on a mic, but at the same time, they got to fix the jumping in from one team to the next. That the other game I've been playing, again, like I was saying, was Call of Duty Black Ops 4 multiplayer and Blackout, and I'm really digging the Blackout. The first couple of rounds, it's a feel type thing, but finally I started really getting the hang of it and enjoying it and winning, and it's been a lot of fun. So I today and yesterday have been playing the hell out of all 3 games. Fortnite, Battlefield 5, and Call of Duty. I'm kind of going in and out of each of them. And I'm seeing a huge difference here. Which brought me to the topic of toxicity earlier. And the difference here, and it's amazing to me, but in Call of Duty, at least in Blackout, the Battle Royale version of Call of Duty, I have not gotten one super toxic player on my team. Not one. I've gotten some not good, I've gotten some crappy teammates, but almost everybody who has a mic in Blackout is an adult, is normal, is trying to win. They're not all friendly, but, they're calling out. Dude over here, look north, let's go west. Hey, everybody come in this car. Hey, everybody, let's get in the chopper. Like, communication. Now, one of the biggest bits of toxicity was back in the day playing Call of Duty and having those, the lobby where you're waiting to get in the game and everyone's just like shitting on each other and just being assholes. And it's just such a funny turn of events, right? Because then you switch into Fortnite and that's all it is. Everybody's toxic. And when you find somebody good, you latch on and you friend them and you ride the night out with that group, and you play a couple of games with them. But almost every random squad, you're going to have a toxic person in there just annoying the hell out of you. And I just find it so funny. I mean, it's obvious, right, where that toxicity is coming from. It's immaturity, and it's just a whole lot of things. Insecurity is the huge part. Immaturity and insecurity. And so, in a game like Fortnite, you have kids and immature. It's just drowned with it. There's so much of it, and it's actually pulled that toxicity away from Call of Duty, and I love it because Call of Duty, this warfare version of the game, is so the communication is so important in a battle royale squad. When you're playing squads, it's detrimental. You don't have it, you don't win, unless you're lucky. Well, when you have good communication in Blackout or in Fortnite, you can actually easily get to the top 5. Especially if you play a couple rounds with these people. And so we had a couple wins because of it, because of good communication. Stuck with the same team, played it out, and just went on a good run. And I'd say almost every group I've been in, we've been coordinating, we've been working together, and even the people without mics can hear us and are acknowledging that they understand the orders and are participating in the tactics. And it's just a lot of fun. It's interesting. And like I said, Battlefield 5 doesn't even have that communication, just doesn't really exist because they're blocking you from jumping in. And so few and far between. I haven't been really playing with others. I mean, I've been playing with them, but not talking with them because their headset, it's easier just to jump into Battlefield with like a 64-person warfare and not say anything to anybody else and just kind of like play your own one-player game, you're solo. But it's just it's a breath of fresh air to pull yourself into a Call of Duty game and not have people talking about my mom and what they've done with her last night and, all that crazy stuff. And then you go to Fortnite and it's all right there. It's not gone. People are still doing it. They're just doing it elsewhere. And Fortnite has that toxicity sitting right in the lobby. All right. A couple of upcoming releases I'm excited about. Beat Saber, that comes out on the 20th. So we are a stone's throw away from Beat Saber. It's not even in the store right now, so I can't buy it. I don't even know what the price is. I didn't go look it up, but hopefully it's not too much. I really want to get it. I want to play it. I have it for the PC, but I want it for the PlayStation just because it's my personal opinion is a crisper experience. So Beat Saber, definitely going to be getting that. And then Just Cause 4, we're talking after the New Year or after Thanksgiving. A couple of weeks away, Just Cause 4 on December 4th. That's a must-buy, in my opinion. That's a pickup right away. I love Just Cause 3. So, whether it's added to my backlog or not, I'm going to be paying for it. I love it. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's coming out December 7th. That's another must-buy. They're stacking this game. Now, I was reading that Piranha Plant is a playable character, which is just absolutely awesome. And they're really just pulling out all the stops. Now, you have to buy the game in the first month, I think, of release to get Piranha Plant. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay for them. They're going to have a DLC. It's going to be $6 per character or like a flat fee of $24 or something like that. If you pay the $24, you get all 6 DLC, but the first one being the Piranha Plant from Mario. So that game's just going to be so packed with like action and characters, and it's just amazing. If you haven't seen the roster, check it out online. It's so filled with people. It's amazing. Borderlands 2 VR comes out on December 14th. That's another huge one I'm waiting for. I cannot wait. And last but not least, my backlog. Let's talk about it real quick. I have Red Dead Redemption. My top. Okay, so I have 3 top flat, 3 top VR. Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man, and God of War. None of this has changed since last week. Resident Evil 7, Astrobot, and Megaton Rainfall. That's my 6 games to play outside of my standard, point and shoot games, my Call of Duties, my Battlefield 5s, my Fortnites. I'm always going to be playing some Tetris these days, but those 6 games are the games to beat, and hopefully I'll be starting to knock those off the list. And stay tuned, because hopefully in the future I'm going to be setting up my stream and playing these games live for you. Everybody, I can talk your ear off, obviously, so I'm going to wrap it up now, but thank you for listening. Thank you for all the support. It's starting to really just, it means a lot, starting to pour in, and we're growing, we're getting big. The last couple of episodes have been a hit, and I'm seeing some great trends. So I just want to say thanks again for all that you guys are doing to keep pushing this thing, make it alive. It feels really good. We talk a lot about Joe not being here. I'm willing to do this alone, but I really do like having co-hosts, and I know Joe is my permanent co-host. If that seat is his, I'm keeping it warm for him. But should he not return, there's always room for somebody else. I'll keep looking, but I'll truck away with solo if I have to. Stay tuned for the next episode in a couple of days with Jason. He did get a copy of Predator Vendetta Rising, the VR game we did a giveaway for. So he's going to be providing his review of that game. And I don't know, a whole lot more, because he's a big time gamer, but he's a dad just like me, got a lot going on. And so I can't wait to hear his perspective. But with that being said, everybody, thank you for listening. Peace out. Have a great Thanksgiving if you don't listen to the next episode. And, happy holidays to everybody. This is Kevin, signing off. Another episode, Backlog Exposed. All done.